The Rigveda, hymn 966, Soma Pavamana, 30 verses. For holy lore of every sort, flow onward, thou whom all men love, a friend to be besought by friends, o'er all that rulest with these two, which Soma Pavamana stand, turnest as thy stations hitherward. Wise Soma Pavamana, thou encompassest on every side. Thy stations, as the seasons come, flow onward, generating food for precious boons of every kind, a friend for friends, to be our help. Upon the lofty ridge of heaven, thy bright rays with their essences, Soma spread purifying power. O Soma, these 7 rivers flow, as being thine to give command. The streams of milk run forth to thee. Flow onward, Soma, in a stream, effused to gladden Indra's heart, bringing imperishable fame, driving thee in the Vasvat's course. The 7 sisters with their hymns made melody round thee, the sage. The virgins deck thee o'er fresh streams, to drive thee to the sea when thou, a singer, bathest in the wood. The streams of Pavamana, thine sage, mighty one, have poured them forth, like coursers eager for renown. They have been poured upon the fleece towards the meat distilling vat. The holy songs have sounded forth, like milch kine coming home. The drops of Soma juice have reached the lake, have reached the place of sacrifice. O Indu, to our great delight, the running waters flow to us. When thou wilt robe thyself in milk, in this thy friendship, and with thee to help us, fain to sacrifice, Indu, we crave thy friendly love. Flow on, O Soma, for the great viewer of men. For gang of kine, enter thou into Indra's throat. Mest art thou, Soma, of the great, strongest of the strong ones, Indu thou, as a warrior ever hast prevailed, mightier even than the strong, more valiant even than the brave, more liberal than the bountiful. Soma Asura, bring us food when offspring of our bodies we elect thee for our friendship. We elect thee for companionship. Agna, thou pourest life, send down upon us food and vigorous strength. Drive thou misfortune far away. Agna is Pavamana, sage, chief priest of all the races 5. To him whose wealth is great we pray. Skilled in thy task, O Agna, pour splendor with hero strength on us, granting me wealth that nourishes. Beyond his enemies, away to sweet praise Pavamana flows, like Surya visible to all, adorned by living men. Set forth for entertainment, rich in food, far-sighted Indu is a steed. He, Pavamana, hath produced the lofty law, the brilliant light, destroying darkness, black of hue. From tawny Pavamana, the destroyer, radiant streams have sprung, quick streams from him whose gleams are swift, best rider of the chariot, praised with fairest praise, mid beauteous ones, gold gleaming with the Marut host. May Pavamana, best to win the booty, penetrate with rays, giving the singer hero strength. Over the fleecy sieve hath flowed the drop effused to Indra comes. Indu, while he is purified, this Soma, through the pressing stones, is sporting on the oxhide, and summoning Indra to the draught. O Pavamana, bless us, so that we may live with that bright milk of thine which hath been brought from heaven. Now, the holy lore, as in the scripture, whether written or not, right? Every type is responded to. But it's important to have some sort of grasps of all the types. Sure, not everybody can memorize it all or even read it all. Well, certainly in India there was too much for anybody to even be exposed to, but in 967, Soma and others, 32 verses. Thou, Soma, hast a running stream, joyous, most strong at sacrifice, flow bounteously, bestowing wealth, effused as cheerer of the men, flowing best gladdener art thou, a prince to Indra with thy juice, poured forth by pressing stones. Do thou with loud roar send us in a stream. Most excellent, illustrious might, Indu, urged forward, floweth through the fleecy cloth, the tawny one, with as loud roar, hath brought as strength. Indu, thou flowest through the fleece, bringing felicities and fame, and Soma, spoil and wealth in kine. Hither, O Indu, bring us wealth and steeds and cattle hundredfold. Bring wealth, O Soma, thousandfold, and purifying through the sieve the rapid drops of Soma juice. Come nigh to Indra in their course, for Indra floweth, excellent Indu, the noblest Soma juice, the living for the living one, the glittering maids send Sura forth. They with their song have sung aloud to Pavamana, dropping meath. May Pushan, drawn by goats, be her protector, and all his paths bestow on us shares of maids. This Soma flows like gladdening oil for him who wears the braided locks. He shall give us our share of maids. This Soma juice, a glowing god flows like pure oil, effused for thee. He shall give us our share of maids. Flow onward, Soma, in thy stream, begetter of the sage's speech. Wealth giver among gods art thou. The falcon dips within the jars. He, wrap him in his robe and goes, loud roaring to the vats of wood. Soma, thy juice hath been effused and poured into the pitcher like a rapid hawk it rushes on. For Indra flow most rich in sweets. O Soma, bring your hymn delight. They were sent forth to feast the gods like chariots that display their strength. Bright, best givers of delight, these juices have sent value forth, bruised by the pressed stones and extolled. Soma, thou goest to the sieve, giving the worshipper hero strength. This juice, bruised by the pressing stones and lauded, passes through the sieve, slayer of demons, through the fleece. O Pavamana, drive away the danger, whether near at hand or far remote, that finds me here. This day may Pavamana cleanse us with his purifying power. May most active purifying priest, O Agni, with a cleansing light, diffuse through all thy fiery glow. Purify thou this prayer of ours. Cleanse us with thine own cleansing power, O Agni, that is bright with flame, and by libations poured to thee. Savitar, God, by both of these, libation, purifying power. Purify me on every side. Cleanse us, God Savitar, with three, O Soma, with sublimest forms. Agni, with forms of power and might. May the gods' company make me clean, and Vasus make Ru pure by song. Purify me, ye general gods, O Vedas, make me pure. Fill thyself full of juice. Flow forth, O Soma, with all thy stalks. The best oblation to the gods. We, with our homage, have approached the friend who seeks our wondering praise. Young, strengthener of the solemn rite, lost is Alea's axe. O Soma, do thou send it back hither in thy flow. Even Soma, God, if 'twere a mole, a man who reads the essence stored by saints, the Pavamana hymns, taste food completely purified, made sweet by Mataresvan's touch. Whoever reads the essence stored by saints, the Pavamana hymns, Sarasvati draws forth for him water and butter, milk and meat. And in Ekankar, Alaya and Elam are on the same level, and one sees here why that is. Hymn 968, Sova Panamana, 10 verses. The drops of Soma juice, like cows who yield their milk, have flowed forth rich in meat unto the Shining One, and seated on the grass, raising their voice, assumed the milk, the covering robe wherewith the utters stream. He bellows with a roar around the highest twigs. The tawny one is sweetened as he breaks them up. Then, passing through the sieve into the ample room, the god throws off the dregs according to his wish. The gladdening drink that, measured out the meeting twins, fills full with milk the eternal ever-waxing pair, bringing to light the two great regions limitless. Moving above them, he gained sheen that never fades. Wandering through the parents, strengthening the floods, the sage makes his place swell with his own native might. The stalk is mixed with grain. He comes, led by the men, together with the sisters, and preserves the head With energetic intellect, the sage is born, deposited as germ of law, far from the twins. They, being young at first, showed visibly distinct the creature that is half concealed and half exposed. The sages knew the form of him, the Gladdener. What time the falcon brought the plant from far away, him who assures success. They beautified in streams the stock who yearned, therefore, might and meet for praise, together with the wretches, with their prayers and hymns. 10 women deck thee, Soma friendly when effused, led by the men with invocations of the gods. Through the fleece thou hast given us strength to win the spoil. Songs resonant with praise have celebrated him, Soma, friend, springing forth with his fair company. Even him who, rich in meath, with undulating stream, winner of wealth, immortal, sends his voice from heaven. He sends it into all the regions forth from heaven. Soma, while he is filtered, settles in the jars with milk and waters. He is decked, when pressed with stones, into and purified, shall find sweet rest and room. Even thus poured forth, how on thy way, O Soma, vouchsafing us most manifold, lively vigor, we will invoke benevolent earth and heaven. Give us, ye gods, riches with noble heroes. And it's important to realize that sometimes things from certain places are the best things to use in rituals. But if you don't have that, that doesn't mean you have to abstain from a ritual. But you can't exactly do a pilgrimage. Oh, I'm going to astral project my pilgrimage. It's like, well, that may have use or benefit, but not like a real pilgrimage. Or not like really gathering this herb from this place. Maybe there's something along the way that you're supposed to do, right? Or realize. Hymn 969, Soma Pavamana, 10 verses. Laid like an arrow on the bow, the hymn hath been loosed like a young calf to the udder of its dam. As one who cometh first with full stream, she is milked. The Soma is impelled to this man's holy rites. The thought is deeply fixed, the savory juice is shed. The tongue, with joyous sound, is stirring in the mouth, and Pavamana, like the shout of combatants, the drop rising in sweet juice, is flowing through the fleece. He flows about the sheepskin, longing for a bride. He loses Aditya's daughters for the worshipper. He looses Aditya's daughters for the worshipper. The sacred drink hath come, gold-tinted, well restrained. Like a strong bull he shines, whetting his manly might. The bull is bellowing, the cows are coming nigh. The goddesses approach the God's own resting place. Onward hath Soma passed through the sheep's fair white fleece, and hath, as 'twere, endued a garment newly washed. The golden-hued, immortal, newly bathed, puts on a brightly shining vesture that is never harmed. He made the ridge of heaven to be his radiant robe, by sprinkling of the bowls from moisture of the sky, even as the beams of Surya, urging men to speed, that cheer and send to sleep. Together rush they forth, these swift outpourings, in long course of holy rites. No form, save only Indra, shows itself so pure, as down the steep slope of a river to the vale, drawn from the steer, the swift strong draughts have found a way. Well be it with the men and cattle in our home. May powers, O Soma, may the people stay with us, pour out upon us wealth and goods, in gold, in steeds, in cattle, and in grain. And great heroic strength, ye Soma, are my fathers, lifted up on high as heads of heaven and makers of the strength of life. These Pavamanas here, these drops of Soma to Indra, have spread forth. Like cars to booty, effused, they pass the cleansing fleece, while gold-hued, they cast their covering off to pour the rain down. O Indu, flow thou on, for lofty Indra, flow blameless, very gracious, foe destroyer. Bring splendid treasures to the man who launts thee, O heaven and earth. With all the gods protect us. Now, let us realize that religion doesn't deny us the aspects of life. It just gives it context. As long as it's according to the terms of worship, you want these things released upon you, right? Hymn well, you want these, these things available, right? Because we're talking about the forces of nature, the rivers going down and all that stuff. And um, hymn 970, Soma Pavamana, 10 verses. The 3 times 7 milch kine in the eastern heaven have for this Soma poured the genuine milky draught. 4 other beauteous creatures hath he made for his adornment, when he waxed in strength through holy rites. Longing for lovely Amrita, by his wisdom he divided each part from other. Earth and heaven, he gladly wrapped himself in the most lucid floods. When through their glory they found the gods' resting place, made those his brilliant rays, he ever free from death, inviolate for both classes of created things, rays wherewith powers of men and gods are purified. Yea, even for this have sages welcomed him as king, he while he is adorned by the 10 skilful ones, that he too in the midmost mothers may create, while he is watching o'er the lovely Amrita's ways, looks on both races as beholder of mankind, he while he is adorned to stream forth mighty strength, rejoices in his place between between the earth and heaven. The steer dispels the evil-hearted with his might, aiming at offerings as an archer at the game, beholding as it were 2 mother cows. The steer goes roaring on its way, even as the Marutas roar, knowing eternal law, the earliest light of heaven. He passing wise was chosen out to tell it forth. The fearful bull is bellowing with violent might, far-sighted, sharpening his yellow-colored horns. Soma assumes his seat in the well-fashioned place. The cowhide and the sheepskin are his ornament, bright, making pure his body free from spot and stain. On the sheep's back the golden-colored hath flowed down. Acceptable to Mitra, Vayu, Varuna, he is prepared as threefold meal by skilful men. Flow on, for the gods' banquet. Soma is a steer, and enter Indra's heart. The Soma's reservoir, bear us beyond misfortune, ere we be oppressed. The man who knows the land directs the man who asks. Urged like a car steed, flow to strength. O Soma, Indu, flow onward to the throat of Indra. Skilled bear us past, as in a boat o'er water. As battling hero, save us from the foeman. Let us take a careful regard of that which is inside. We have thoughts, emotions, feelings. Well, let's deal with them before they become beliefs and actions that we should not be taking part in. Hymn 971, Soma Pavamana, 9 verses. The guerdon is bestowed. The mighty takes his seat, and ever watchful guards from fiend and evil sprite. Gold-hued he makes the cloud his diadem, the milk his carpet in both worlds, and purr his robe of state. Strong bellowing he goes, like one who slays the folk. He lets this hue of asuras flow off from him, throws off his covering, seeks his father's meeting place, and thus makes for himself the bright robe he assumes. Onward he flows from both the hands, pressed out with stones, excited by the prayer. The water makes him wild. He frolics and draws near, completes his work with song, and bathes in streams to satisfy the worshipper. They pour out meat around the master of the house, celestial strengthener of the mountain that gives might, in whom through his great powers oblation-eating cows in their uplifted udder mix their choicest milk. They, the 10 sisters on the lap of Aditya, have sent him forward like a car from both the arms. He wanders and comes near the cow's mysterious place, even the place which his inventions have produced. Like as a falcon to his home, so speeds the god to his own golden, wisely fashioned place to rest. With song they urge the darling to the sacred grass. The Holy One goes like a courser to the gods. From far away from heaven the red-hued, noted sage, steer of the triple height, hath sung unto the kine. With 1,000 guidlings he, leading this way and that, shines as a singer splendidly through many a morn. His covering assumes a radiant hue wherever he comes into the fight. He drives the foe afar, the winner of the floods. With food he seeks the host of heaven. He comes to praise, glorified with milk. Like a bull roaming down the herds, he bellows. He hath assumed the brilliancy of Surya. Down to the earth hath looked the heavenly falcon. Soma, with wisdom, views all living creatures. Now, is the falcon the astral soul, or when we're talking about the 1,000 guidelings, are we talking about the company being led? Hymn 972, Soma Pavamana, 9 verses. They cleanse the gold-hued, like a red steed is he yoked, and Soma in the jar is mingled with the milk. He sendeth out his voice, and many living friends of him, the highly lauded, hasten with their songs. The many sages utter words in unison, while into Indra's throat they pour the Soma juice, when with the 10 that dwell together closely joined, the men whose hands are skillful cleanse the lovely meat. He goes upon his way unresting to the cows over the roaring sound which Surya's daughter loves. The falcon brought it to him for his own delight. Now with the twofold kindred sisters is his home, washed by the men, stone pressed, dear on the holy grass, faithful the seasons, lord of cattle from of old, most liberal, completing sacrifice for men. O Indra, pure bright Soma, Indu flows for thee. O Indra, urged by arms of men and poured in streams, Soma flows on for thee after his godlike kind. Plans thou fulfillest, gatherest thoughts for sacrifice. In the bowls sit the golden-hued like a roosting bird. Sages, well skilled in work, intelligent, drain out the stock that roars. The sage, the everlasting one, the milk, the hymns unite them. With him in the place of sacrifice, his seat who is produced anew. Earth's central point, sustainer of the mighty heavens, distilled into the streams the waters wave, as Indra's thunderbolt steer with far-spreading wealth. Soma is flowing on to make the heart rejoice. Over the earthly region flow thou on thy way, helping the praiser and the poorer. Thou, most wise, let us not lack rich treasure, reaching to our home, and may we clothe ourselves in manifold bright wealth. Hither, O Indu, unto us 100 gifts of steeds, 1,000 gifts of cattle and of gold. Measure thou forth, yea, splendid, ample, strengthening food do thou, O Pavamana, heed this laud of ours. Now, ephedra is a yellow juice, but we kind of do think about how the fly agaric, that up to the 8th generation, the urine can be passed on and intoxication can still be had through that. But we're not focusing on the gross part of that in this. It can be hinted at, but it's not so explicit. So we're not talking about that. Hymn 973, Soma Pavamana. That's of course where the trickle-down stuff, economics comes from, right? 9 verses. They from the spouting drop have sounded at the rim. Knaves speed together to the place of sacrifice, that Asura hath formed to seize 3 lofty heights. The ships of truth have borne the pious man across. The strong steers gathering had duly stirred themselves, and over the stream's wave the friends send forth the strong, engendering the hymn with flowing streams of meath. Indra's dear body have they caused to wax in strength. With sanctifying gear they sit around the song, their ancient strength. Their ancient father guards their holy work from harm. Varuna hath overspread the mighty sea of the mighty sea of air. Sages had power to hold him in sustaining floods. Sweet-tongued, exhaustless, they have sent their voices down together in heaven's vault that pours 1,000 streams. His widely restless warders never close an eye. In every place are found the bonds that bind man last. O'er sire and mother they have roared in unison, bright with the verse of praise, burning up rightless men, blowing away with supernatural might from earth and from the heavens. The swarthy skin which Indra hates, those which, as guides of song and counselors of speed, were manifested from their ancient dwelling place, from these the eyeless and the deaf have turned aside The wicked travel not the pathway of the law. What time the filter with 1,000 streams is stretched, the thoughtful sages purify their song therein. Bright-colored are their spies, vigorous, a way to beguile, excellent, fair to see, beholders of mankind, guardian of law, most wise. He may not be deceived. 3 purifiers hath he set within his heart. With wisdom he beholds all creatures that exist. He drives into the pit the hated rightless ones. The thread of sacrifice spun in the cleansing sieve on Varuna's tongue tip by supernatural might. This, by their striving, have the prudent ones attained. He who hath not this power shall sink into the pit. And they keep talking about this threefold thing. Is it you're on the path, you're striving and readjusting, and then you have self-mastery, and of course that tends towards influence or ability in your reaction. Well, your reaction towards others is self-mastery, but you know what I mean. Are we talking, you accept the path, and then there's the learning and the building of skills associated with doing that path better, and then there is the full-on experience of the path. What is all this threefold stuff?